Good everyone, and welcome to another amazing session of the Tutor, where learning is made very simple. And in today's video, we are going to be looking at the concept of graph and how to analyze, interpret, and plot coordinates of a graph involving quadrilaterals. We have the part 1 of this video where we explain the definition of graph, we explain on the y-axis, the x-axis, and also we solved a question involving graph, a wire question involving graph. But in today's video, we are going to be looking at plotting a graph involving the quadrilateral. Now let's go into the question. Now we have the vertices of a quadrilateral PQRS. When we say vertices of a quadrilateral, we are simply talking about the corners of a quadrilateral. A quadrilateral is a shape that have 4 equal sizes. So we have the vertices of a quadrilateral PQRS have the coordinate P we have minus 3, 18, Q we have 15 and 14, R we have 11 and minus 4, S we have minus 7 and 0. And they also give us A and B, which have their own coordinates. Now what are we expected to do? We are expected to use a scale of 2 cm to represent 10 units on both axes. In our previous video, we established and exposed the secret to understanding scale. When given a certain scale in the question, the previous video we really expatiated on how to understand scale. We are going to do a little bit of touch here. Now on both axes, and then we are asked to join the vertices of the quadrilateral PQRS, and also what do we notice? Now, I would like to say something. Now, we have the first coordinate, we have P. We have P, we have the first coordinate, we have minus 3 and 18. Now, it is very, very important to know that the first number is always the x-axis, while the second number is always the y-axis. What do I mean? This minus 3 is the value of x, while this my 18 is the value of y. In any given coordinates, the first number is usually the x, it's usually the value of x, while the second number is usually the value of y. Let's take the q coordinates. The coordinate for the q. For the q we have 15 and 14. What does this mean? The first value, which is 15, is always the value of x, while the second is always the value of y. Now, this is how to interpret the graph very, very easy. Because now you don't have a table. So how do you know that it is my x and it is my y-axis, or the value of my x and the value of my y? So the first number in any coordinate is always my x, the value of my x, while the second value in a coordinate is always the value of y. So very, very important. And the next thing we also have to consider in a given question like this is the scale. Now we have the scale. We have the scale given to us, 2 cm is equal to 10 units. Now what does this mean? This simply means that for every 2 small boxes on our graph sheet, it represents 10 units. That is one. I come again. It says that for every 2 small boxes on our graph sheet, it represents 10 units. And it also tells us that on our x and y axis, the numbers are increasing by 10. So if our first point is 10, the next point will be 20. After 20, the next point will be 30. So they are increasing by 10. And it also tells us that for every 2 small boxes, that's 2 cm, it represents 10 units. Now, since we know the values for x and y axis in any given coordinate, and also how to interpret a scale, let's go ahead to plot this quadrilateral graph. So we go ahead to plot a graph. So we have our vertical line, which is our y-axis, and we have our horizontal line, which is our x-axis. And don't forget, the intersection between your x and your y-axis is our point of origin. Now, the scale given to us in this question is 2 cm to represent 10 units. This is not an actual graph sheet, but in an actual graph sheet, this is 0. From 0, we have that from 0 to the first box, it's 5. And from this 5 to the next box, it's 10. So we are simply saying that what for every 2 small boxes it represents 10 units. So this is the first box and this is the second box. So we don't have any need for this. So 2 cm representing 10 units. For every 2 small boxes it represents 10 units. So we have 10, and also from here to the next 2 centimeters we have, let's say what? We have what? 20. Now don't forget, the question said we should use the scale for both axes. Now I'm going to be working with values of 10 and 20. Now why am I going to be working with these values? I have looked at the values of my coordinates, and I've seen that the values of my coordinates will fall between 0 to 20. There is no value within my coordinates that is greater than 20. What do I mean? Look at my coordinates. I have -3 and 18. I have 15, 14. So if you go through these values, see that what? They fall between 0 to 20, both the positive and the negative aspect. So I'm going to be working with 2 values, which is what? 10 and 20. And then for my negative side, I have here to be -10, and I have here to be -20. Now for my x-axis, the positive side, 2 cm, I have here to be +10, and I have here to be +20. And finally for my negative side, I have here to be -10, and I have here to be -20. So we've been able to plot, we've been able to assign our values to the various quadrants on our graph, using the scale of 2 cm to represent 10 units. Very, very important. So one thing I also want you to note is that, what does this mean? Don't forget, on your graph sheet, you will have don't forget, you have boxes like this. You have boxes like this. You right? You have boxes like this. You have what? Boxes like this. Now what does this mean? This means that from here, from our point of origin to this very point, it's what we have, what? 5 here. 5 to 10. From 10, this shows that what? This is what? 15. So same thing applies round. Now why am I getting to show you? Because there are times when we'll have what? The value of either x or y to be what? Let's say 3 or what? 2. So it's important to know that when you're using your graph sheet, if you have here to 0 to 5, you know that a number like 3 or -3 will fall between this range. And it won't fall between what? This range. Because from here to here is what? From 10 to 5. But from your 0 to here is what? From your 0 to 5, you're talking about what? Numbers between what? That range between what? From 0 to what? To 5. So numbers like -3 won't fall in this place, but numbers like that, they are going to fall in this section. So it is very, very important for you to note. Now let's go ahead to plotting our graph. Okay. Now we have our coordinates. We have the first coordinate. We have P. The coordinate for P are -3 and 18. So we have -3 and 18. And I've told you that the first value is always the value of x. while the second value is always the value of y. So they are saying when x is minus 3, so we'll have that minus 3 will fall between here. Let's see what we have here. When x is minus 3, y is 18. Now because of that, let's try to reduce this our line that we brought. So we have 10 here, and we have 20. So we have when x is minus 3, so we can have minus 3 here based on our graph. Our y is 18, so we can have somewhere 18 around here. So we can go ahead to trace the point. So 18, we have 18 to be here. So these are points what P. So when x is minus 3, so we'll have minus 3 here because this is the negative side of our x-axis. Y, which is what positive 18, so we're going to have 18 here. Because we have 18, 19, and this is 20. Now for our next point, we have when we have coordinate for Q, which is 15 and 14. So when x is 15, don't forget x positive 15. So positive 15 will fall between 10 to 20, not 0 to 10, but 10 to 20. So we're going to have it somewhere at the middle between 10 and 20. When x is 15, we'll have that y is positive 14. So we'll have that y will be what? Positive 14. So we're going to have, so these are y. We're going to have, we have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So let's say we're going to have 14 somewhere here. So we can go ahead to trace it. So we have this point here. So we call this to be angle Q. Okay, so sorry, there was a mistake here. So this is 15, because we say when x is 15, so 15 falls here. So 15 falls here. When x is 15 and y is 14. So we have it up to this point. And then we are steric here, and then we have it to be Q. Thirdly, we've done our P, Q, then we have R. Our R, we have 11 and minus 4. So the value of x is 11. So when x is 11, y is minus 4. When x is 11, so 11 is a positive value. So we look at here, so we'll be looking here, let's say this is 10, so 11 will be somewhere here. So when x is 11, the value of y is minus 4. So this is 0, minus 4 will fall between 0 to 10. So we have minus 4 to be, let's say this is 0. So we have minus 4 will be somewhere, let's say here. We have minus 4 to be somewhere, we'll say minus 4 will be somewhere here. Okay, so we have minus 4 to be here. So when what? Our arrow when x is 11. So we have 11 to be here. So we have it, we can bring it out here. And then we are steric it. And this gives us for R. This gives us for R. And finally, when s is, the coordinate for s, so when x is minus 7, we are going to have minus 7 will be from 0 to 10. So we can have minus 7 here. When x is minus 7, what is the value of y? So the value of y is, when x is minus 7, yes, the value of y is 0. So it's going to be, when x is minus 7, so it's going to be on this particular point, yes. So when x is minus 7, the value of y is going to be what? 0. So on this particular straight line. So now we've been able to do that. We've been able to plot the graphs. We've been able to plot the graphs of this what? P, Q, R, S. Don't forget, we've not yet plotted for what? A and B. But A said we should, after plotting the point of P, Q, R, okay, one of the things they say we should join the vertices of the quadrilateral P, Q, R. So before plotting for A and B, let's join the vertices. When we say vertices, we are talking about the corner. Let's join the corners of these four variables. Okay, so we can go ahead to clean this. All we want, we are looking for the point. So we have it to be one of our points. So we are looking for the points. So we are looking for the points where they intersected. So we are looking for the points where they intersected. So then we have this last point to be S. So let's join them. So we have here, we join here, then we go down, go ahead to join here, and then finally. So you can see this is not a graph sheet, but if this is not a graph sheet, so you're not getting the perfect shape. But if you plot this using this step, you're going to get a perfect quadrilateral. So being able to join the vertices, that's the corner of the quadrilateral. And finally, for this question, we are going to be using same method. Let's plot the values of A and B using the same concept. So when A is negative, when X for A, the coordinates of A are -3 and -7. So when X is -3, so we have -3. So -3 will be somewhere here from 0 to, let's say, -3. When X is -3, Y is -7. So we're going to have somewhere here, we trace it down. So let's say -7 will be here. So we pick our point, because when X is -3, -3 will be somewhere close, and then our Y is -7. So -7 will fall between from 0 to 10. But if you're using a graph sheet, it's going to fall, -7 will fall between from 5 to 7. Because your graph sheet is being demarcated from 0 to 5. So we have it to be what here. And for B, we have that what? We have coordinate 3 and 0. So when X is 3, so +3, when X is 3, so we have that what? 3 will be what? From 0 to what? Between here. From 0 to 10, so we're going to have 3 here. When X is 3, what happens to what? Our Y. The value of our Y is also what? 0, so it's going to be on this straight line. Now, being able to use the point A, these are points B. Now, he said, what do you notice about points A, B, Q? You can't give your observation on points A, B, Q without joining the points. So the next step, we are going to have to join the points in order for us to give our observation. So go ahead to join the points A, B, and Q. So you can go ahead to join it to a ruler. Okay, so if you join it very well to a ruler, you're going to see our points A, B, Q. Points A, B, and Q gives us a straight line. This gives us a straight line. And this is how to solve questions involving quadrilateral in graph. Thank you very much. We've come to the end of this video. Hope you like the video. I would advise each and every one of you to rewatch this video for better understanding. See you in our next video. Thank you.